So many different times in my life, I've played with broken or hurt things, broken foot, broken leg, broken hand, broken arm, broken sternum, broken collarbone. I could keep going if I just thought more about bones. Why, man? Because I loved it. I loved playing the game. I was passionate about it. One of the reasons I even get encouraged at seeing all of you here. Do you know why I get encouraged by that? Is because you could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you. And they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
Mr. Clyde started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. Now we here.
What we're going to get into here is this concept of managing your time and maximizing every minute of your day. So I want you guys to grab a pen real quick. I want you to jot this down, okay? Managing time, maximizing every minute of your day. Somebody here, tell me who your hero is. Who's somebody you look up to? I need to hear one person or 2 people. Who's somebody you look up to?
My mom.
Your mom?
Yeah.
Cool. Mom. Awesome. Mom. Anybody else? Somebody give me an example of somebody that you look at and go, that's pretty cool. I'm going to choose one then. I'm going to say Billy Graham. That was pretty cool. Billy Graham, we're at a Christian university, we could say Billy Graham. Cool? Well, Billy Graham, how many hours in a day does he have? Did he have? 24? He had 24. Anybody want to debate? 24? So, in those 24 hours, he had to get more things done in that time than other people to have more success, right? Now, he quantified the amount of success that he had through how? How could he kind of keep track of how effective he was? Well, I know for him, he was really into reaching people that he called lost, right? Trying to share with them the gospel, and that's how he did it, right? So he reached millions of people all around the world, right? That's the story, right? Oral Roberts, the guy who started this school, same deal. Now, why is it that those people can reach like hundreds of thousands and millions of people, and some people, who here has met somebody who has a church and has about 100 people in the church, and it doesn't get bigger, it doesn't get smaller, it just kind of stays there. So what's going on? Like, what's the difference, okay? So I'm going to get into this for you, okay? First off, a little quote here for you, Benjamin Franklin. Blow your mind a little bit. I'm not sure why he's writing and he's talking this old English tone here, but I'm going to read it to you. Dost thou love life? What, Ben? Dost thou love life? Then do not squander time, for that is the stuff life is made of. Right? Then do not squander time, for that is the stuff life is made of. What's he talking about? Someone want to tell me? What's he talking about? What is he speaking of?
Don't waste your time.
Yeah. I don't think anybody here would say, I don't love my life, But yet we're not really using it wisely. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's do another example. You have a car. Maybe someone gave you a car. How many people here know somebody who has a nice car and they treat it horribly? How many of you wish you had a nice car? Right? So somebody says, I love my car. They don't treat it well. Right? Somebody says, I love my wife. I love my kids. Love my husband. Love my girlfriend. They don't treat them well. Right? Life is like a gift you have. Does that make sense? That's your thing. You got a 24-hour gift every day. So in order to manage your life, you have to have a daytimer. A what? Daytimer. I have never met, probably never will meet, a successful person who does not have a day planner. Never. But yet, 9 out of 10 people I meet do not have one. Do you see how this could be a problem? How are you going to get something done if you don't have a... Yeah. So, example today, in my list of stuff that happened just this morning, you guys know who Mike Posner is? Okay, this morning I got a call from his agent, right? Hey, actually it was an email I got from his agent saying, hey, we like this idea for Thrive. We want to talk to you about the details of whatever. I have to respond to him, okay? Now, in addition to that, I have other things that happened today, so I'm going to read them off to you, okay? So let's go ahead and just write them down on your sheet of paper, okay? Posner, that's one, right? Second is Mickey needs to get paid. Who's Mickey? Well, it doesn't matter, but Mickey needs to be paid, okay? Mickey needs to be paid. Then Rod from OxyFresh wants me to call him back. Rod from OxyFresh wants me to call him back. Then I got to get the photos to Dr. Zellner. Okay? Let's get real. Then I have to call New York Life back about 6 speaking events. So we have New York Life going on, right? We got NY Life, New York Life. Speaking events, we got Rod with OxyFresh. Okay, we have more. Got to get Dr. Z his photos. We have to land our splash page for Thrive. I'm asking you to write this down because this stuff does matter. I promise it'll make sense to you. Then I have to get a video posted for a young man named Keith. That's the lemonade stand guy, right? Keith video, right? Then I have to write 4 hours, what? 4 hours of content. Then I had to buy 2 of those, whether Mark II, guys, is that right? Mark II? Mark II? 2 Mark II cameras. I think it was 3 Mark II cameras, right? 3 Mark II cameras. Had to buy 3 Mark II cameras. Then we had to buy 1 Mac Pro. I've got to build studio number 3. I've got to call my wife. Let's keep going. Got to call my wife. Then I've got to get in touch with Mr. David Robinson on his contract. Then I have to finish the Thrive call scripting. Then I have to meet with the builder. Then I have to book trips to NY, San Antonio, San Diego. Keep writing. Then we got to book a trip to Chicago. Then we have to follow up with ORU, Mr. Belcher, about that student recruitment process. And there's more for my day today. Page after page after page. But these things have to get done today. How am I going to get it done if I don't schedule it? It's not going to happen. Okay? So first off, here's the steps. I'm trying to help you out on this. Okay? First step number 1 is you circle the things that have to get done. So you circle those must-dos. The things that have to happen no matter what, right? So I say, I've got to get a hold of Posner right now. That's a hot deal. I got to close that deal down, okay? I've got to get in touch with New York Life. I got to get in touch with Rod. I got to get in touch with Mickey. Got to get in touch with Dr. Z. Got to make sure I get this video done. I got to make sure I get this scheduled. Got to make sure I get this done. Right? Got to get this done. Right? Now, what happens is it enters into the schedule. Something else comes in. These are called distractions. Distractions, right? So I have to fire a dude. Okay? I have to chew out a dude, right? So I have to schedule a time to fire a dude, chew out a dude. Then we have a young lady who I need to make sure I mentor her because she needs some help on some stuff. This is life, right? So how are we going to get all this done? We circle the must-dos, right? Then we go ahead and we rank them in order of importance, okay? So we rank them. Okay? Rank them. So you put a 1 here. Well, Posner, that's number 1. That has to happen. I mean, if nothing else happens, that has to happen. What else has to happen? Oh gosh, well we got to get this done. It's number 2, and so on. So number 1, number 2, you see what I'm saying? You rank these things. You rank those things. Cool? Now step 3. We ask ourselves when, and we schedule that beast. So if you read Forbes magazine, or you read Inc. magazine, or you read any magazine written by anybody who knows what they're talking about when it comes to success, or if you read the life story of Billy Graham, or if you read the life story of John Maxwell, or if you read the life story of Joel Osteen, or if you read the life story of George Foreman, or if you read the life story of anybody whose name you know because they actually do things, what time do these homies and homettes wake up? Huh? Early. Average? Want to guess? Yeah, you got that 4, that 5, a lot of that 4 or 5 action going on here because they have to plan. Right? Plan. So we have to wake up here at 4 or 5. Now, some of you are saying, and this is going to be painful, but I care, that's why I'm telling you. Some of you are going to be saying, I'm not a morning person. Well, as my mentor said to me one day, he said, well, then you either probably won't be a married person, you'd probably be, a poor person or a divorced person. If you want to be ambitious and you have a family, you'd better find a way to do it earlier. Your family's not going to like you if you're gone every night. And if not, you're probably going to be a poor person. So that's just the reality. I've never met a single person ever, not one time, and I won't. And I interview them. This is my career. I go around the country interviewing these people. This is what I do. And I've yet to meet one who's like, well, I wake up about 10, 9, 8, 7. They're all waking up at 5. Now, that's tough, because that's like, some of us have to try to move some stuff around. Okay? But if you take your life seriously, have you ever heard of the story of Bill Gates, how he started his first business when he was how old? You ever heard of the story of, Henry Ford? He started when he was how old? You ever heard the story of, a lot of these people start when they're younger, right? Steve Jobs in college, 20. You don't have to wait for someday, because someday doesn't happen, right? So some of us need to start like maybe tonight, maybe kind of getting serious. I promise if you do it, there's this thing called quiet time, right? Where you're supposed to sit and think and basically kind of align yourself and ponder what really matters and connect. And if you do that, who has ever done that for like a week in a row? Anybody ever done that where you get up early for like a week in a row? Anybody ever done that? You're like, I'm doing it. Anybody ever done that? Don't you feel like productive all week? Then we kind of drift out of it, right? So I'm telling you, you need to do that, okay? Now the second thing we all need to be successful is this device called a dream catcher. Some of you might call it a journal. Some of you might call it a moleskin, one of those books. Some of you might call it a notepad. But when you get a dream, anybody here have a big idea before and you can't remember the next day? Some of you creative people have like a funny joke or a script idea or a line or a song or a melody or a business plan or a phone number or someone you need to call. You ever found yourself the next day, like you forgot to call the person, you're like, oh, or you forgot to do the thing, or you need this. Because you're going to have great ideas, and you got to put them on paper. Because if you turn thoughts into things, okay? Money in, you will bring thoughts into things. It happens. But you can't turn your thoughts into things and then bring in money if you can't actually write these things down. So every one of you guys needs to be running around here with some sort of dream catcher and a day timer. Now what if you don't? If you don't do it, what happens? Yeah, then we won't know who you are, right? And we only have a limited period of time on the planet, right? So, but I'm saying it's super important that you do it because I'm telling you, every day is a gift. It's super important. But again, I don't know. I wish they had a class at ORU called like you fail at this college if you don't carry a day timer. If I was in charge of the school, I would have a class called if you don't have a day timer, you fail. And I would check every day. And if you don't have a day timer, I'd give you like a F for that class, and then I would fail you out of college after about 5 of those because you have to have it. Because I've never met anybody successful that doesn't have it. Now, if this is stuff you've said, I want to caution you. We'll time out here. If you're like, hey, could you remind me to do that? If you tell a boss, I had a CEO I met a couple years ago, and he told me that if a manager ever tells him, could you remind me to do that? He's immediately, for at least the next year, not going to promote them under any circumstance. If someone ever says, could you remind me to? Because he's like, no, that's your job. Write it down. Does that make sense? So we need to be the kind of person. Who here maybe knows somebody who's dependable, where you know if you ask them to do something, they'll write it down and it's done? Who here knows somebody, or maybe has been somebody, where when you are supposed to do something or they're supposed to do something, it's never done? Who knows that person? Hall meeting, they say, hall meeting, did you get that done? And they're like, what happened was, who knows that person? Okay, who's been that person? I know I have before, right? So we have to be intentional about this, right? Intentional. Intentional living is what I'm trying to help you with. Intentional living. Okay? All right? I'm telling you, nothing happens unless it's scheduled. Nothing happens unless it's scheduled. So let's get into my schedule real quick, all right? So when did I call Mr. Posner? Well, I was training with Farmers Insurance today. No, it was yesterday. I was training with Farmers Insurance yesterday. Today I'm doing something, and young Caleb Taylor says to me, what's today? Is it Wednesday? Yeah, he says to me, hey, did you call Posner? And I'm like, what? Didn't know yet, because I was working on my other stuff. I check, boom. I look at my schedule. Okay, when am I going to do it? I set a time. Boom, in between appointments, do it. I had to call my wife today. Why? Because my wife's like the most important thing for me, right? But things can happen. Things can happen. Busy stuff, right? Busy. Gosh, busy stuff. I wish I could stand before you and say, I never make a mistake. But that wouldn't be real. What I can say is I have the right ideal, and I hit it 95% of the time. But I can tell you, yesterday got a little bit busy, had some stuff going on, had a meeting, and I didn't schedule a time to call my wife. Can somebody tell me what you predict probably happened?
You probably forgot to call.
Yeah, and my son can probably tell you, was Mom happy about this? No. No? Yeah, he saw it. So, I'm just being real because I want you guys to look at me and go, hey, okay, I get it. You do make mistakes too. We all do that. But I'm just saying, I didn't schedule it. So I had all this stuff going on, right? Distractions. So I'm at 5:30, I'm finishing up a meeting, and I saw something happen, and I hopped into action, right? Didn't have my day timer in front of me. Didn't look at that.
Right.
This is me being bad boss. And I didn't call her. And because I didn't, whoa, it was awesome. It was spiritual. It was spiritual what had happened. Yeah, a demon was cast out of me, But I now know, and I am going to try to correct the situation over the next maybe 400 days. You know what I mean? But it was like, didn't realize, So she's thinking, is he dead, or am I going to have to kill him because he hasn't called me and it's supposed to be? And you know what I mean? So, but we all do that, don't we? Now I can honestly say I go vast periods of time without that sort of thing. But yesterday I messed up, right? We all need to do that, though. We have to schedule relationships, right? We have to schedule business. We have to schedule family time, working out time. Who here, you ever wanted to work out, you just ran out of time? You ever wanted to study, ran out of time? Ever wanted to call somebody, ran out of time? Ever wanted to make an elaborate Valentine's gift for a girl, always going back to dating, and you just ran out of time? It's because we got to schedule time. Does that make sense for you guys? Okay, am I helping anybody? You getting this? It's really important, though. It's super important, okay? So just little thoughts for you. There is a book called The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. That book absolutely lays out time management in the most concrete, specific way I've ever seen. It is great. Ultimate sales machine. Now, these books, some of you are like, I already have books to read for college. I get it, but they're books called Humanities and Social Science and Things That Won't Pay You. Things That Won't Pay You, 101. And then, but we need to study stuff that will pay us, right? You got to find time for that, okay? You know what I'm saying? Psychology, Freud says, and you're like, that's good. Is that going to pay me or what? I've never been in a work environment where the boss has been like, do you know what Freud said? No. You're fired. I've never had that happen. Or, do you know what papyrus was? No. Well, you don't get the bonus. I've never had that happen. You get the deal because you know what cuneiform was. The reason why they're teaching you that is because they want you to learn how to learn. They want you to learn how to study, and it's a lot of theory there. But you guys need to know some of these things right here. We got to do it, okay? So what I want you to be thinking about is let's even think about the phone calls now. Some of you are dialing, and when you put the phone down, you're like, phone down, type in the data. It's separate events. Phone down, type in the data, separate events. Now some of you, how many people have started pre-filling out your forms? I've seen a couple of you do that. Oh, I've seen a couple of you where you're starting to type one thing while calling someone else because you're starting to realize that you only have a certain amount of time, and to get to your goal, you have to do that. Does that make sense? Really, really important. So for this last bit here, right up until we get done here, the last 30 minutes, I want you guys to time manage as much as possible, okay? Try to get in as much as possible into that time window. Make sense? Okay? Let's be really aggressive on it. But then outside of here, let's go get a day timer. Let's go get a day timer. Let's do it, right? Maybe wait till the morning to go to Walmart. A little dangerous. But let's make sure we get a day timer. Let's get Let's get a moleskin. Wait till the morning, but let's do it. Or go as a big group and bring guns, okay? But hey, all right, let's get started, all right? All right.
All right, Jim, today we are diving into the mailbag again. Now, I told you earlier, but I get to talk with these Thrivers on a regular basis, and they are thrilled at opportunities like this where their questions actually get answered. So just any of you guys watching, if you have questions, the Ask the Guru button's right there. So fill that out and we'll have opportunities like this for you to answer.
Cool.
But here's the question we've got today, okay? This is from a Thriver in Oregon. This is what they wrote. Guys, I keep hearing you talk about the importance of building winning teams. Yet I work for the city government, and it just feels like you all are operating in a different world that is totally impossible for me to operate in. As a manager, I can't really fire anyone or hold people accountable. What advice would you have for me? What would you say to this Thriver right now?
Well, I would say that when I worked for the city government, literally, I worked for the city government in Little Rock, Arkansas. Years ago, the Little Rock Housing Authority, the Urban Renewal Agency. I was an assistant to a man who didn't need an assistant. I was. Bob Moore was my boss, right. and I was his gopher, go for coffee, go for paper, go for whatever. And he didn't need me. Right. So I had tons of spare time. Well, what I did with my spare time at first, because I tend to be self-directed more than a lot of people, is I studied urban renewal. They had some books on urban renewal, and I read the books, where did it all start, how did it develop over the years, what's different, and so forth. But then I ran out of that, and also I wasn't all that interested in it. So I knew this wasn't going to be my field, and so I read the Bible cover to cover. Really? At work in a 3-month period out of boredom. Wow. Nice way to fill boredom. Yeah. But and it certainly enhanced my life. Sure. But it didn't help my employer at all. Right? Right. So how do you build a winning team if you're a manager in an agency where you've got all these government restrictions and they say, don't do what makes sense. Do what's in the book. Right. Just exactly like it's in the book. People need more than anything else meaning. More than food, we need meaning. We need a reason to get up in the morning, a reason to live, a reason to go to work. And if there's not somebody at work that's pointing out to us why what we're doing matters and how it helps other people, then we tend to lose touch with that. So that's the position you're in. If you're hoping to cultivate more of a winning team, you got to get everybody thinking about and talking about how you're making a difference, how you help people, why your work matters. And you've got to start by taking an interest in each of your people. Find out what they care about that has some remote relationship to the job. You know, you might say, well, what they care about soccer, and that's nothing here connected, just fine. I'm talking about find out what they're interested in life and in general, and look for ways to link that to the job. Years ago, I had an employee who was a salesperson for me, and I was talking with him one day. His name was Bob. I said, Bob, what do you want to do with your career? And he was in his 20s, I think. And he said, well, and I said, what's wrong? Why are you hesitating?
Right.
He said, well, I don't want to be here for my career. I said, well, I get that.
Sure.
You know, I didn't expect this would be your lifelong work, but
Right.
what do you want to do with your career? He said, well, honestly, I want a surf camp. I want to create a surf camp, a place on some island somewhere where I can get a great relationship going with all the local vendors,
Right.
and I can bring people in from around the world and teach them how to surf and help them have an epic surfing experience
Okay.
for a week at a time.
Yeah.
And I said, well, cool. Then what do you need to know and be good at in order to have a surf camp that's successful? He said, I don't know. I said, well, let's think about it.
That's good.
So we started listing the things he needed to understand how to
Right.
manage money. He needed to understand sales and marketing, brand identity.
Bringing
he needed to
value
understand all of these various things. And I said, okay, now all of those are things you need to know. Many of those are things you can learn right here and
That's
skills you
awesome.
can master right here. Let's get to work on you.
Wow.
And I guarantee you, he was way more motivated while he worked for me.
This is huge because I think you're giving us specific action items right here for you. You're the Thriver who asked this question. If you are...
Go Ducks.
Yeah.
In Oregon.
In Oregon. You're saying that the first one, though, is to connect reason, purpose.
Meaning, yeah.
Meaning.
Yeah, there's got to be something about the work that connects with you.
Okay.
And if no one else is talking about that, then you're probably not thinking about that.
Okay.
So it's up to us as the leaders to continually remind people why what they're doing matters.
Okay, so that first action item
Yeah.
is to remind people why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the second action item you gave was to show interest in the people and their interests.
Absolutely, because if you want them interested in you and the job, you got to be interested in them. It's like my son said years ago when he worked at Mailboxes, Etc. That's now a UPS store. He said, Dad, I noticed something. The people who get the most mail send the most mail.
I love it.
Yeah.
Jim, you are a wizard and your knowledge is blowing my mind. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
JT, do you know what time it is?
4:10.
It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem, baby. Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma during the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, 2024. Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Growth Workshop. Yes, folks, put it in your calendar. This December, the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business growth workshop. We've been doing business conferences here since 2005. I've been hosting business conferences since 2005. What year were you born?
1995.
Dude, I've been hosting business conferences since you were 10 years old. And a lot of people, have followed Tim Tebow's football career on the field and off the field. And off the field, the guy's been just as successful as he has been on the field. Now, the big question is, JT, how does he do it?
Well, they're going to have to come and find out because I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, Tim Tebow's going to teach us how he organizes his day, how he organizes his life, how he's proactive with his faith, his family, his finances. He's going to walk us through his mindset that he brings into the gym, into business. It is going to be a blasty blast in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Folks, I'm telling you, if you want to learn branding, you want to learn marketing, you want to learn search engine optimization, you want to learn social media marketing, that's what we teach at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop. If you want to learn a accounting. You want to learn sales systems. You want to learn how to build a linear workflow. You want to learn how to franchise your business. That is what we teach at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Workshop. You know, over the years, we've had the opportunity to feature Michael Levine, the PR consultant of choice for Nike, for Prince, for Michael Jackson. We've had the top PR consultant in the history of the planet has spoken at the Thrivetime Show workshops. We've had Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, a company that creates apparel worn by celebrities all throughout the world. Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, has spoken at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Workshops. We have the man who's responsible for turning around Harley Davidson, a man by the name of Ken Schmidt. He has spoken at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops. Folks, I'm telling you, these events are going to teach you what you need to know to start and grow a successful business. And the way we price the events, the way we do these events, is you can pay $250 for a ticket or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes! We've designed these events to be affordable for you, and we want to see you live and in person at the 2-day interactive December 5th and 6th Thrivetime Show Business Workshop. Everything that you need to succeed will be taught at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Workshop, December 5th and 6th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the way we do these events is we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a question and answer session so that wonderful people like you can have your questions answered. Yes, we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a 15-minute question and answer session. It's interactive. It's 2 days. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've been doing these events since 2005, and I'm telling you, folks, it's going to blow your mind. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop is America's highest rated and most reviewed business workshop. See the thousands of video testimonials from real people just like you who've been able to build multi-million-dollar companies. Watch those testimonials today at thrivetimeshow.com. Simply by clicking on the testimonials button right there at thrivetimeshow.com, you're going to see thousands of people just like you who've been able to go from just surviving to thriving. Whoa. Each and every day, we're going to add more and more speakers to this all-star lineup, but I encourage everybody out there today, get those tickets today. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. And some people might be saying, well, how do I do it? What do I do? How does it work? You just go to thrivetimeshow.com. Let's go there now. We're feeling the flow. We're going to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, you just go to thrivetimeshow.com. You click on the business conferences button, and you click on the request tickets button right there. The way I do our conferences is we tell people it's $250 to get a ticket.
Yep.
Or whatever price that you can afford. And the reason why I do that is I grew up without money. JT, you're in the process of building a super successful company. Did you start out with $1 million in the bank account?
No, I did not. Nope, did not get any loans, nothing like that. Did not get an inheritance from parents or anything like that. I had to work for it, and I'm super grateful. I came to a business conference. That's actually how I met you, met Peter Taunton. I met all these people.
So if you're out there today and you want to come to our workshop, again, you just got to go to thrivetimeshow.com. You might say, well, who's speaking? We already covered that. You might say, where's it going to be? It's going to be in Tulsa, Jerusalem, Oklahoma. And someone says, Tulsa, Jerusalem. I'm really trying to rebrand Tulsa as Tulsa, Jerusalem, sort of like the Jerusalem of America. But if you type in Thrivetime Show and Jinx, you can get a sneak peek or a look at our office facility. This is what it looks like. This is where you're headed. It's going to be a blasty blast. You can look inside, see the facility. We're going to have hundreds of entrepreneurs here. It is going to be packed. Now, for this particular event, folks, the seating is always limited because my facility isn't a limitless convention center. You're coming to my actual home office, and so it's going to be packed. Who? You're going to come. Who? You? I'm talking to you. You can just get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. And again, you can name your price. We tell people it's $250 or whatever price you can afford. And we do have some select VIP tickets, which gives you an access to meet some of the speakers and those sorts of things. And those tickets are $500. It's a 2-day interactive business workshop, over 20 hours of business training. We're going to give you a copy of my newest book, The Millionaire's Guide to Becoming Sustainably Rich. You're going to leave with a workbook. You're going to leave with everything you need to know to start and grow a super successful company. It's practical, it's actionable, and it's Tebow time right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Get those tickets today at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com.
Hello, I'm Michael Levine, and I'm talking to you right now from the center of Hollywood, California, where I have represented over the last 35 years 58 Academy Award winners, 34 Grammy Award winners, 43 New York Times bestsellers. I've represented a lot of major stars, and I've worked with a lot of major companies, and I think I've learned a few things about what makes them work and what makes them not work. Now, why would a man living in Hollywood, California, in the beautiful sunny weather of LA, come to Tulsa? Because last year I did it, and it was damn exciting. Clay Clark has put together an exceptional presentation, really life-changing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. I'm Michael Levine. I'll see you in Tulsa.
Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the world's highest rated and most reviewed business workshops because we teach you what you need to know to grow.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
And now you may be thinking, what does it actually cost to attend an in-person 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop? Well, good news. The tickets are $250 or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, they're $250 or whatever price you can afford. I grew up without money, and I know what it's like to live without money. So if you're out there today and you want to attend our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop, all you got to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com to request those tickets. And if you can't afford $250, we have scholarship pricing available to make it affordable for you.
I learned at the Academy in Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Whoa. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Today I'm broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona, not Scottsdale, Arizona. They're close, but they're completely different worlds. And we have a special guest today. Definition of intelligence is if you agree with me, you're intelligent. And so this gentleman is very intelligent. I've done his show before also, but very seldom do you find somebody who lines up on all counts. And it's a Mr. Clay Clark. He's a friend of a good friend, Eric Trump. But we're also talking about money, bricks, and how screwed up the world can get in a few and a half hour. So Clay Clark is a very intelligent man, and there's so many ways we could take this thing. But I thought, since you and Eric are close, Trump, what you're saying about what Trump can't, what Donald, who's my age, and I can say or cannot say.
First of all, I have to honor you, sir. I want to show you what I did to one of your books here. There's a guy by the name of Jeremy Thorne, who was my boss at the time. I was 19 years old, working at Faith Highway. I had a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. And he said, have you read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? And I said, no.
And my father, may he rest in peace, he didn't know these financial principles. So I started reading all of your books and really devouring your books. And I went from being an employee to self-employed, to the business owner, to the investor. And I owe a lot of that to you. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you, thank you so much for allowing me to achieve success. And then I'll tell you all about Eric Trump. But I just want to tell you, thank you, sir, for changing my life.
But not only that, Clay, thank you, but you become an influencer. More than anything else, you've evolved into an influencer where your word has more and more power. So that's why I congratulate you on becoming. Because as you know, there's a lot of fake influencers out there too, or bad influencers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad you and I agree so much, and thanks for reading my books.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thrill for me today. Not a thrill, but recognition is when people, young men especially, come up and say, I read your book, changed my life. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say. Whoa.